Ready, hot!
Should become the all-time leading passer in yards at the university this week. What kind of intangibles does he bring to the field?
Well, Landry brings all those intangibles we've had from the lineage of great quarterbacks we've had here, and that's first the outside of talent and a great arm in accuracy and everything that you put on skill and talent is he's tough. He's a hard-working guy. He's a humble guy. Players like playing for him. He's a great teammate. He's all those things that, he's a student of the game and tries to improve all the time. And then you put that with a big, strong guy that can throw. It makes for a bunch of yards.
Is he the kind of guy that Josh or you would have to tell him to not press too much? I mean, there's different personalities of quarterbacks. What is he when it comes to that?
No, I think Landry's a pretty calm guy and much similar demeanor that Sam was in that that they'll take what comes to them and relax in the position.
All of your guys, Josh and Jason, all four of them, sort of that way. I mean,
They really are.
You didn't have a lot of raw guys playing quarterback.
No, and it's kind of, whether it's by design or it's just sort of how it's happened, they've all been that kind of guy in that they're kind of humble. They're humble, guys. That's why players and their teammates like them so much. They have to get in front of you here and there because that's what the position demands, So we've had to make all of them, Jason, Josh, Sam, whatever, they reluctantly have come up and, fulfill their duties of being a quarterback and having something to say. But at the end of the day, the players know they'd rather be in the locker room with them getting ready to play. And, they've all been talented. They're tough, too, and not one of them's been, and again, maybe by design, there isn't a prima donna in any of them, a bit of it. And again, I think players, their teammates respect that as well, that they go about everything just the way they do.
In the last year, there was a lot of talk about road problems, and maybe Landry didn't play as well on the road. You win those road games, Baylor, Stillwater. He makes the big throws up in Stillwater. Does that do anything to help him or the team in this game in terms of?
Sure it does. You're talking about Landry playing well. Our last 4 games are all on the road last year, Baylor and then at Oklahoma State. He has a huge fourth quarter when we needed him to. Gave him a lot of confidence, and he had a couple of throws, gave up early in the game an interception for a touchdown that he overcame, and I think he did learn from that. Same thing Nebraska, have a tip ball that ends up being intercepted, and then comes back in the second half and really in the second quarter and has a big game after that, and then on against Nebraska in the Big 12 championship game I'm talking about, and then on to the Fiesta Bowl where he has a big game. So I think it did really. I think those 4 games at the end of the year, really helped him progress and change and mature, in the position.
Tom, can you think of an example of all these quarterbacks you talked about where they really stepped up in a key moment that maybe fans didn't realize how difficult they had at the time to come through and make a really big play?
You're talking about all these?
Yeah, I mean Sam, Jason. I mean.
That's a lot to think about, so all of them, everybody, at different times, those guys won a lot of football games, had their opportunities, and, to sit here and think of each one, you're giving me a little too much to do right now.
Really stood out.
No, I talked about what Landry did a year ago. Those were key to me. I thought his play in the fourth quarter against Oklahoma State was big, was really big. And
I think about maybe Jason at A&M when he had to pass that, I think Bradley down the middle lane.
Yeah, that was Mark broke the route off. Jason, at down in College Station, was that 2004 or 3? I think it was 4. Mark is, for whatever reason, broke off his corner route and Jason was looking for him at the corner, and Mark broke it off because of the way the coverage was and went straight up the seam, and Jason saw him late and just stuck it in there, which he could do. You know, Jason had that kind of arm to just slingshot it, you know, and you know, like he did. Probably didn't even have the laces when he threw it, and put a strike right on him for a touchdown, and it was a big play. I don't know, you'd have to.
But I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is when quarterbacks are under, you know, duress or pressure like that, that tends to separate.
Well, very true.
Right.
The really great ones, you know, find that guy or can make that throw when they really have to, and you know, and it helps you win.
Can you measure the impact that the 2000 game against Florida State for the title has done to springboard what you've done since then?
Well, it's obviously been a major springboard to the success we've had over this last decade of, you know, and when you look at, and let's face it, in '99, or I felt it from everybody when we got here and read it, that, you know, those years of all the championships and all, you know, wouldn't be returning here. That the time had passed, and, you know, and all that, and that once that happened in 2000, you know, that mood changed, and then it just shot us right back into one of the more elite teams, top 5, 10, however you want to look at it, doesn't matter to me, but we're, you know, a team that legitimately year in and year out has a chance to contend, you know, for, you know, to win your conference championships and to contend, you know, for national championships, and we've been able to do that.
Are you saying the mood among the community, the school?
Well, I think I
around,
think the community, the school, the people covering the school, I think all of that was definitely the mood. I mean, when we walked in here, there wasn't a real confident group
Yeah, not you guys.
anywhere.
Not the coaching staff.
Well, hey,
Y'all think you could turn it around that quick?
well, obviously we felt we would, but you don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. We were just working day to day, and fortunately, and the question was, how did that springboard us? It was the key. You know, it just immediately shoots you right back like a, you know, big ball on a slingshot, just, you know, puts you right back in the game.
People always say that kids have no fear, like on rides, bikes and stuff. You guys were a little younger back then. Did you guys have no fear coming in here? In that regard, if we can turn this around, we don't care what people say about it.
You're asking us as coaches? Yeah, sure. Otherwise I wouldn't have taken the job, you know, so. You know, I felt, I said this before, I was watching, being down in the locker room with Coach Spurrier and a bunch of the Florida guys. We had just come off the field from a scrimmage, and I think Oklahoma was playing an early preseason game against someone, and they were getting beat. And most of the coaches there were all kind of from the southeast down there, and I came roots in the Big 12, you know, with 7 years in the Big 12, and I said, that is a shame. And I grew up in Ohio following Oklahoma with Coach Switzer's years, and I said, I remember pointing at the TV and said, that's a sleeping giant. And I said, they should not be getting beat or having the years they've had. So it was just a comment, and so I respected the, you know, what, you know, the tradition and history here, that even from afar, that they ought to be doing maybe better than they were.
Does Brennan Clay start at running back, and do you anticipate playing the rotation you did the last time?
Yeah, all those guys are going to have to play, and so we'll see who starts. I'll let Coach Gundy determine that through the week. But all those guys, like I said, you know, last week we snapped the ball 100 times. Those guys need to all play, you know, and they will.